Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel where I'm instituting the first and last installment of Anthony ranks the NFL quarterbacks and talks about them because he feels like it. Now, if you're here because you're wondering when Avengers Task Force 1 is going to be out, it's coming soon. It's still in production. We have a few scenes that need to be filmed, and I'll put air quotes around soon because I don't really know. Number 32, AJ McCarron and Josh Allen. Coming in dead last are perhaps the two least qualified quarterbacks currently leading an NFL team. AJ McCarron, to start with, shows little to no promise of breaking out in 2018. In 4 NFL seasons, McCarron has attempted under 200 passes and has seen mixed results. And if he was truly anything special, I think he should have beaten out the mediocre Andy Dalton for the starting job. On the other side, we have Josh Allen, who despite having terrific arm strength, had serious accuracy issues in college. Now, when transitioning to the NFL, player deficiencies tend to enhance, so I really have a hard time believing Allen will come soaring out the gate if he gets the chance to start. Number 31, Tyrod Taylor and Baker Mayfield. Tyrod Taylor, the more qualified of the two, has proven he has the ability to be a C-level quarterback in this league. Although possessing a limited skill set, he doesn't really turn the ball over that much, and he's really mobile, which will help him avoid sacks behind a lackluster Browns offensive line. Baker Mayfield, I think, is a little more interesting, given he was the first overall pick in the draft. And there's a lot of question of whether or not he can transition his game to the NFL, and he's drawn a lot of comparisons to the abysmal Johnny Football, but I like Mayfield a lot more than I liked Manziel. I don't think Mayfield will be close to that level of dumpster fire. Overall, I'm optimistic about the Browns' quarterbacks this year, but as we all know,
you are a factory of sadness!
Number 30, Mitchell Trubisky. I don't see Trubisky as the potential breakout player this year that a lot of other people do. In a small sample size in 2017, he proved his team succeeded more when he did less. He also didn't throw for more than 1 touchdown in any game during last year. I don't think he's a bust, but I want to see more out of him before I put any faith in his play. Number 29, Blake Bortles. If there is any NFL quarterback who has proven himself to be truly inept at throwing a football, it's Blake Bortles. He has a hard time throwing any type of spiral with his weird King Tut-like throwing motion and gives Jacksonville fans heart attacks every time the ball leaves his hand.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
He also has to face a better Colts and Texans team this year, meaning he doesn't get 4 bye weeks the way he did last year. I think Blake Bortles is going to bust. I don't like the Jaguars this year, and I think they'll be moving on in the near future. Number 28, Ryan Tannehill. I personally don't have anything against Tannehill. I think he's proven he can be an NFL quarterback, but he plays on a pretty mediocre Dolphins team, and he lost his best weapon, Jarvis Landry, to the factory of sadness. He also hasn't played in a year and a half, and kind of like Mitchell Trubisky, I just want to see more out of him before I put him any higher on this list. But I don't think Ryan Tannehill's a bad quarterback, and I think he'll be okay this year. Number 27, Josh McCown and Sam Darnold. Josh McCown had a career year at age 38, and no one seemed to mention it. In my opinion, that perfectly describes Josh McCown's career. Completely forgotten, minus 1 game in 2003 when he knocked my Vikings out of the playoffs.
McCown takes the snap. He steps up. He's all by himself. Fires into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! No!
Sam Darnold, on the other hand, is the player many people say is the best quarterback coming out of the NFL draft. Only time will tell, but very few quarterbacks are special right out of the gate. Peyton Manning's rookie season, anyone? Number 26, Joe Flacco and Lamar Jackson. In baseball, they record a statistic called wins above replacement. This is how many more wins you get for your team than an average player at your position. I believe Joe Flacco is that average player you rank other players off of. I believe you should rate other NFL players based on a Joe Flacco scale. Joe Flacco is garbage, and I can't believe the Ravens haven't given up on him to this point. His current backup, rookie Lamar Jackson, is a promising young quarterback already leading rookies in jersey sales. It won't be long before Ravens fans bully the Ravens coaching staff into starting Jackson. Joe Flacco, you were terrible, and I'm sorry, but you can't keep your job for long. Oh, and apparently I guess you can't slide either. Number 25, Eli Manning. A lot of people say Eli Manning is a great quarterback because he won 2 Super Bowls. I disagree. I think he possesses under-average arm strength, accuracy, and decision-making. On top of that, he isn't all that mobile. I think Eli Manning sucks, and I think the Giants are doomed to suck as long as Eli continues to start. Enough said. Number 24, Andy Dalton. As previously stated, I believe Andy Dalton is extremely mediocre. Every now and then he plays well enough to keep his job, but overall, the Bengals aren't going anywhere with him. I don't think Dalton should be driven out of the league the way I think Flacco should, but I think it's time for the Bengals to go in another direction. And I think when they go 4-12 this year, the Dalton era will officially end. Number 23, Case Keenum. Yes, Case Keenum did win 13 games for the Vikings last year, but he was surrounded by immensely talented teammates. Now, moving to the Broncos, Keenum loses most of his weapons and his offensive line is much worse. As shown in the NFC Championship game, when forced to carry a team, Keenum is exposed. I think Keenum can be a starter in this league, but without a great supporting cast, I don't see any team winning with him. However, you will always hold a place in the heart of Minnesota fans for the Minnesota Miracle. Damn, I hate the Saints. Number 22, Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes presents an interesting case heading into 2018. He reportedly has one of the strongest arms the NFL has ever seen. This, however, doesn't necessarily mean you will succeed. You need more than a strong arm to succeed at the NFL level, and he didn't sell me on his skill set in Week 17 last year. Much like Trubisky, only time will tell, but upon gut instinct, I see him being mostly forgettable in 2018. Number 21, Jameis Winston. What is there to say about Jameis Winston at this point? He's extremely talented, he's proven he can win games, and he's proven he can be a leader at the NFL level. All that being said, his maturity is a serious issue, and with the current allegations resulting in 3-game suspension, the Buccaneers' future looks really iffy, and honestly, Winston's NFL career is too. I really hope he can make a comeback, because when he plays well, he's really fun to watch. Number 20, Sam Bradford and Josh Rosen. Much like Winston, Bradford has proven he can play at a high level in the NFL. But for Bradford, it's not maturity, it's his health. Rarely is Bradford healthy enough to play, and he now takes his talents to the most injury-prone team of 2017. Do you smell the irony? Serving as his current backup, Rosen also has a history of injuries, and his loudmouth forced him to fall in the draft. The Cardinals reek of bust this year, in my opinion. Hopefully for their sake, Bradford can stay healthy, and we can stay away from being exposed to another insufferable NFL personality prematurely. Number 19, Marcus Mariota. Can someone please tell me what happened to Mariota in 2017? He went from looking like one of the best young NFL talents to doing his best Christian Ponder impersonation. Lucky for him, they fired the coaching staff, and so he will go into the season with new people around him. I hope that they can bring out the talent, because Mariota was really fun to watch, and he was one of my favorite quarterbacks in 2016. Also, I think Corey Davis is going to break out this year. He's my sleeper pick. So if that pans out, Mariota could return to his 2016 form. God, I really hope so, because that'd be a real shame. 13 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. I mean, it's just terrible. Number 18, Dak Prescott. I really don't know what to think about Prescott going into 2018. Some games he looks really good, some games he looks really bad, and that's really all there is to it. He gets Ezekiel Elliott back this year for a full season, which I think will help. It'll take the pressure off his shoulders. He was really good when Elliott produced, but without him, he didn't look great. I don't think we're going to see much improvement, but I don't think he's bad either. I think he's going to be the Cowboys quarterback for quite some time. And I think that's just what he is. I think he's just kind of meh. Number 17, Cam Newton. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Cam Newton isn't talented. I think he's actually one of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL. The problem for me when it comes to Cam Newton is how committed is he to actually playing football? He's infamous at this point for his inability to be coached, and when his team struggles, he pouts around a lot. When his team plays well, it's not much better. He gets really cocky, and it's honestly his downfall. I'm not on the Cam Newton bandwagon anymore. Number 16, Derek Carr. Another highly rated player by a lot of people. I think Derek Carr is really overrated, and I'm not saying I think he's a bad quarterback. I think he can be a franchise quarterback in this league. But one thing a lot of people don't talk about is his career yards per attempt hovers around 6.5, which is below league average. And this year, I don't think the John Gruden signing is going to work. He's been out of the league for about 10 years, and I just don't think it's going to work. I think Carr can have a good future. I don't think it's going to be with Oakland. I think he better get out of there if he wants to have a good career, but I think he's could be a solid B+ quarterback, but I think he's overrated as of now. Number 15, Deshaun Watson. Watson is a player I really wanted to rank higher, but we've only seen a small sample size from him, so I don't think I can put him any higher than 15. That being said, he did set the record for most touchdown passes thrown through the first 7 games of your career. And when he played Seattle, he showed no fear of slinging the ball downfield, even when he was throwing interceptions. My only concern with him is his ACL, because this is the second one he's torn, and I don't know how it's going to heal, and if he's going to go back to being the same player as before. But if he does, I think he could easily be a top 10 quarterback by the end of the year. Number 14, Jimmy Garoppolo. For me, Garoppolo is one of the most intriguing quarterbacks to watch heading into 2018. He was Tom Brady's understudy for a number of years, and now he takes his knowledge to a team coached by Kyle Shanahan, who single-handedly revived Matt Ryan's career. That being said, in the small sample size we've seen, he's beaten a lot of garbage teams, and in those games, he only managed to throw 7 touchdowns, and he did throw 5 interceptions. I don't think the pairing is going to be gold right away, but I think in the next 5 to 10 years, the 49ers are going to be a pretty good team. And honestly, I don't see how Garoppolo could fail. I mean, it's not like another highly rated Tom Brady understudy's career completely fizzled. Number 13, Matt Ryan. Do you remember Kix? It was a cereal, and it wasn't bad, but it also wasn't that great either. Like, it wasn't quite as sugary as Cocoa Puffs, but it also wasn't quite as bland as Cheerios. Well, for me, that's Matt Ryan. He's not great, but he's also not that bad. I think Falcons fans accept him as their franchise quarterback, but I think deep down they want something a little better. Oh, also, who remembers 28-3? Number 12, Jared Goff. Everyone seems to have given up on Jared Goff after impressive 2017 campaign. Colin Cowherd described Goff as a slightly better version of Matt Ryan when he came out of college, and I agree with that statement, and that's why I have him slightly ahead of Matt Ryan. I think the system he's in is perfect for him. I think he's going to succeed with the pieces around him. He's still young, but in time I think he could grow as a player, and eventually I think he could carry his team the way Russell Wilson has. Number 11, Kirk Cousins. There's a lot of Cousins hate around the league. He's been accused of not being able to carry his team, he's been called a turnover machine, but we have to remember he was on the Redskins, one of the most dysfunctional teams in the NFL. I think he still showcased his arm strength and accuracy throughout his time in Washington, and now he takes his talents to Minnesota, where he plays with one of the best NFL rosters. Cousins isn't a superstar. Not yet, anyway. I think he has the potential to grow into one of the NFL's best quarterbacks over the next 5 to 10 years. With the people around him, I think they're going to make him really great. Or he will suffer a career-ending injury on the first play of the preseason because Vikings. Also, please comment below about how much of a blind Vikings fan I am. After all, I'm still here after 38-7. Damn it, I hate the Eagles. Number 10, Alex Smith. The man who replaces Cousins in Washington, Smith has proven he can win in the NFL. And much like Cousins, I don't think he deserves all the hate he gets. He's obviously not in as strong a position as Cousins heading into 2018, but what Smith has proven in the NFL is he can win, and he can get the job done. Although 2018 might not be his best year, I still believe he will be a bright spot on a crappy Redskins squad. Also, he throws a nice deep ball, just saying. Number 9, Matthew Stafford. My second least favorite quarterback in the NFC North. Stafford has great arm strength and has proven he's a top NFL quarterback. He runs a great 2-minute offense and he has the most fourth quarter comebacks in recent memory. The only thing holding him back is his playoff success, and based on the current team he's on, I don't see him proving himself to be much higher anytime soon. Sorry. Number 8, Andrew Luck. For me, Luck is a wild card heading into 2018. We don't know how well he will play after an almost career-ending injury, and he was out of the league all of last year. Still, when he's healthy, he's one of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's also proven that he can win. His offensive line has improved, and the Colts as a whole are better, and it looks like they're going to be looking out for him a little bit more. I think he has huge upside. He could also bust, and his career could end, but hopefully for NFL ratings, he's much better. Number 7, Phillip Rivers. In my opinion, Rivers is by far the most underrated quarterback in the NFL. He consistently plays at a high level and never has anything to do with the awful Chargers teams. This year is different. I think the Chargers are improved, and they could maybe make a run at the playoffs for the first time in the last 5 to 7 years. That's really all that needs to be said. If the Chargers succeed, I see him moving up. If not, I don't think he's going to fall. Number 6, Russell Wilson. For most of Wilson's career, I believed he was overrated. That is until the Seahawks finally dropped off a cliff last year, and Wilson was forced to lead his team. He honestly surprised me. He led the league in touchdown passes and almost single-handedly helped his team reach the playoffs. Unfortunately for Wilson and the Seahawks, their chances at a Super Bowl are all but dead. If he plays another 10 years, I think he could make another run at it, and I personally hope he does, because I think Wilson has proved himself to be a genuinely good person. However, in terms of statistics, sky's the limit with all that garbage time. Number 5, Ben Roethlisberger. I'm not a big Ben fan. I think he acts childish, and unlike Russell Wilson, I don't think he's that great a person. He held the Steelers hostage by threatening to retire unless he'd get what he wanted, and then he threw a fit when they drafted another quarterback. He's just not really my type of guy. However, it doesn't change the fact that he's a generational talent, and he's one of the few guys who actually has a chance at winning the Super Bowl this year. I know I'm in the minority, but if it comes to it, I really hope they lose to New England again. I like Antonio Brown, though. Number 4, Carson Wentz. Here we are at Philadelphia's savior, Carson Wentz. He possesses great arm strength, accuracy, and agility. I personally hope the torn ACL doesn't affect him, and if the Eagles win another Super Bowl, it would really make me feel better to know that this guy was actually a part of it. But I still wish he'd play somewhere else, because I hate the Eagles. Number 3, Drew Brees. Brees is one of the best quarterbacks of the last 20 years, and in my opinion, he's the most accurate passer in the NFL right now. Brees is a true professional, and his showcase in the second half of the divisional game against Minnesota was nothing short of amazing. And if it wasn't for the Minnesota Miracle, he may have actually won his second Super Bowl. He's back at age 39, and maybe on his final life. But either way, his career won't be forgotten anytime soon. Number 2, Tom Brady. One of, if not the best quarterbacks in NFL history, for me, Brady comes in at number 2. This is not to say that the guy ahead of him is better in the grand scale of things, because believe me, he isn't. Brady is simply better as a whole than he is looking into his age 40 season. With a weaker supporting cast than ever before, I honestly have no concerns for Brady. He consistently elevates the people around him and has proven he's one of the best leaders in the NFL. A lot of people hate Tom Brady, and I have no reason to. I would rather see Brady win Super Bowl after Super Bowl than have other horrible fan bases woke from their slumber while my Vikings continue to crush the hopes and dreams of Minnesota fans. So for that, I thank you. However, your book sucks because I read it, I followed it, and I still don't have 5 Super Bowls or a supermodel wife, so you suck! Oh yeah, and number 1 is Aaron Rodgers. Unfortunately, Rodgers is at the top because he's as talented as his personality is awful. And of course, if I didn't put him at the top,
it'd be like, say, losing a football game in the fourth quarter with only 5 minutes to go and you're up 19-7. You know, it's not going to happen.
So there you have it. That's my quarterbacks for 2018. Make sure to comment below now or at the end of the season and tell me how wrong I am so I can fight you in the comment section. All right, bye.